Hello Collective, CJ, Event Director here. We are coming from live from Nautilus, where we've just finished our Leadership Lab. The Leadership Lab is really designed to really inspire the trends in travel rather than just talk about them. And today that is certainly what happened. We had several trends that you could say potentially emerge from the closed door lab. More will come to you from later about that. But at the moment I'm joined with by four of our leaders. We have Jonas Rask from RASK Travel. We have Parker Stanberry, CEO and founder of Oasis Collections. We have Louise O'Riordan, VP of Partnerships from Surf Air, and the one and only Blake Danner, the one and only T. Blake Danner, COO of Sydell Group. So there was a lot of discussion about disruption and perhaps potentially even the lack of disruption in the travel industry. Airbnb this week has been brought up a lot as a potential disruption, but do we really feel they are a disruption to the high-end travel industry? Blake?
So look, I'll never say that Airbnb doesn't have a place in the market and that's not causing some pain in the market, but we operate primarily luxury hotels, and our general take is that if you're a luxury hotel customer, you're not going to Airbnb. That's not a customer that we share. We do operate some properties kind of in the mid-scale, and I think to those properties, Airbnb is a competitor, but it's not something that in the luxury segment's keeping me up at night.
So for the more modern consumer that's looking for affordability, community, and flexibility, do you think that that they're more likely to choose Airbnb over, say, some of your more low-scale brands?
Look, I think it depends on what you're looking for. In New York City, quite frankly, we see very little arbitrage between kind of our mid-scale hotels. In resort communities, like Palm Springs, where you have beautiful homes, you're going with a group of people, we clearly feel their impact there.
Okay, so a bit of a mixed bag about whether it's disruptive or not. Parker?
Yeah, I mean, I think more broadly, alternative accommodations are disruptive. I would agree with Blake that, yeah, sure, the typical consumer of a five-star hotel in New York probably isn't going to Airbnb anytime soon, but companies such as mine and others that are trying to address that sort of midpoint between an Airbnb stay, which in my mind is primarily value driven, versus a five-star hotel stay, which is primarily kind of comfort and experience driven. I think that is where you will see a bit of pain maybe in the 4- and 5-star space.
So what is disrupting travel, or what should be disrupting travel?
I mean, I think technology broadly both is and should be. We talked a lot today about how a lot of hotels are working on antiquated systems, or they're sort of responding to technology advances. A last-minute booking app comes out created by a third-party technology company, and then a hotel brand races to create their own as opposed to vice versa. So I mean, I think technology in general is disruptive, and hotels need to be more proactive about embracing that and beating the tech companies to the punch in some ways.
As one of our private travel designers, how do you feel? What do you take on the systems that we're currently using in the travel industry?
Well, I think in general, as you just alluded to, we're really on the back foot in terms of embracing technology. I think one of the main reasons why Airbnb is so successful, obviously, they have struck a nerve when it comes to, it's not just about the distribution, but I think that's a very big part of it. It's also about them having struck the nerve about the search for authenticity and the real experiences, all those buzzwords that we've heard for the past, time and time again. But I think an issue that, for instance, Airbnb has is that as you're growing, and that's something that all of us are actually experiencing issues with, as you're growing, how do you retain that kind of the authentic, the personalization, and I think when you're going on Airbnb now, if you're searching for an apartment in Berlin, for instance, I'm sure that you'll find that there are lots and lots of property developers that have simply made sort of pseudo hotels and selling them off on Airbnb. And that is to say that I think Airbnb is very successful because of the distribution model. And getting back to what you really asked about was how we're really on the back foot in terms of embracing technology, and it's incredible to me that a lot of hoteliers, they're dependent on antiquated systems. I'm not going to name names, but that have not really changed in decades. And as a travel agent, even though we work off, I think uniquely so, actually off a multitude of platforms in order to ensure that we always get our clients the best and best value. The common way for travel agents to work is actually off the GDS systems, which were invented in the 1960s and are the property of, I think, one of the big airlines.
So you see maybe Airbnb not being as disruptive as possibly what could be a disruption would be a revolutionary new booking tool?
Well, I think in general, technology is disruptive because it creates the possibility for, but I think it's mostly in terms of the distribution that it's really disrupting things. And so Airbnb, I think it is very disruptive, but I will agree with you when we're talking about how to create and curate very special experiences at the top end of the market. I think they face a difficult struggle to compete with people that have been doing this for a very long time, to do top-end luxury experiences.
True, yeah. And so with regards to the antiquated systems that Jonas brought up, is that a problem on the hotel side as well, the supplier side?
Sure it is. One of the reasons Airbnb has done so well is they have great technology. It's easy to use. When I go on, all my information is saved. It's not by coincidence that how do you hail a taxi in New York now? You go on Uber. How do you read a newspaper today? You go on your app. I mean, other industries have had quantum changes in how they deliver their product. We haven't.
So if anyone's watching, there's an opportunity here. So moving on to another big trend that was kind of like discussed today, which I want to talk to you about, Louise, was this introduction of subscription travel. So you're from Surf Air. So Surf Air you introduced us to yesterday, which has already established subscription model. But how do you see that after the discussions today? Do you see that as something that could be extended beyond air travel, beyond hotel travel, or even more?
Yeah, I think so. I think what we set out to do is really touch on all of those points, keep the service level up, give people ease of booking, so make flying private affordable for the frequent traveler, make it as simple as booking an Uber on the app, make the service level, very personal, so you're greeted by name, and because it's a membership based, that you're not having to deal with all the pain points of TSA, etc. And then adapting that to the rest of travel, I don't see why we couldn't build a subscription model that both hotels or individual owners, whether it's apartments or residences, could tap into, and then deal with the partnerships to provide all of the extra amenities. I mean, one thing we find where I'm surprised for the travel agency industry, we approach a lot of our corporates where they're being told who to book their travel with and how to book it and a process. And I think that's one area where we're seeing a slow but disruptive process. So a lot of our clients came from tech companies where they were told what to do. And then the executives tried our service and just went, look, we're saving 2 hours each way. I'm going to tell our
So you think there's something in there for consumers? It's actually a way of traveling more efficiently and effectively.
Yeah, I think corporates, executives in corporates have the power to shift that whole booking process. If they're not happy with how they're booking their system, then they can ask for something like Surf Air or whatever the case may be that's making them save time, etc. change.
Parker, what are your thoughts on the subscription travel model? Do you think that's something that could be expanded?
Yeah, I do, and I think to the corporate's point specifically, I think part of it is antiquated systems, and part of it is just kind of an antiquated philosophy. I think corporate travel in general is quite ripe for disruption, and whether that is through different booking tools, subscription models, different distribution, there's a lot there. I think specifically to the subscription model piece, yeah, I mean, I think just as you could pay X amount of dollars per month for unlimited flights between San Francisco and LA, you should be able to pay a fixed monthly fee for X number of nights, and either within a big hotel chain or even more broadly, there could be a partnership of various accommodation providers that allow for a monthly subscription. It's efficient, it's sort of seamless, and so yeah, I think efficiency, seamlessness, all that is what people are driving towards. With the Ubers of the world leading the way and kind of creating this different consumer mindset where you want stuff now, you want it seamless, you want choice.
So Blake, do you think it would work in the upscale hotels, or do you think that would be more for your kind of your freehands, your more mid-scale hotels? Both or all?
Look, I think it's just another delivery channel. I think it probably works at all scales. The pricing's going to be different, but I think that even in the luxury level, there are people. Look, Nomad Hotel in New York City, we have past 50% repeat guests. I know those people would love to buy on a subscription basis. They're regular guests. They want ease of booking. Yeah, sure, it would definitely work.
And at the end of the day, it's in the power of the consumer who has the points where they want to spend it. So you might, save that special experience for that weekend with a partner or a friend and save up your points and go, for a cheaper model when you've been given those points for work, whatever.
And look, I think it makes a really good point. Corporate travelers are starting to rebel. They're not given all the tools that they want. They now see how easy it can be on an Uber, and they're saying, why can't I book my corporate travel this way? Why am I going through an antiquated booking engine? Why am I going through old systems? So I think a lot of the travelers are starting to say, you got to give me better. If I'm going to be a road warrior for you, I need some balance here. Give me better tools.
A lot of people, I think, in the industry, though, have mixed feelings on, awards programs, loyalty programs, and OTAs. Do you think this could be something that would be quite disruptive to those?
Well, you're talking to a guy who's not a big fan of point-based programs. Look, we operate, independent, authentic hotels. Point-based programs are not really part of our lexicon. Great loyalty programs that reward our guests for, repetitive stays and understanding what their needs are. That's more in line with what we do.
Interesting. How do you think the subscription model, Jonas, would work with agents?
Well, I think the moment that we get a tool that will benefit agents as well as clients, then we'd be happy to work with that. I think at the end of the day, all of us have to provide what the guests and what the clients want. So I just wanted to say one thing about the whole, awards and miles and all that. I strongly believe that they continue to be relevant, but not in the sense of loyalty so much as it is just another currency. People are shopping around, people are not very loyal.
I think of it as a way to get discounts as opposed to really gender loyalty.
There's something wrong there. I think obviously you can see it on the bottom line with all the big reward systems. Surely that they work, okay, but they've sort of become economies in their own right. They kind of live a life of their own, and I honestly don't think it has a lot to do with loyalty anymore. It's just a different kind of currency.
Just a different currency. Interesting. So all of this talk of disruption and subscription and Airbnb, it almost you could almost ask or argue that a lot of the human element has kind of been taken out of everything or being lost. But another really interesting kind of point that was made today was a little bit more of a focus on kind of before, during, and after care of hotel guests. Do you want to talk a little bit about the trend that was discussed today?
Well, we discussed the sort of what we see as a gap in the marketplace, which is a more holistic view of who the client is and what, there's stuff going on in the client's life before they stay at one of you guys' hotel or fly your airline or come to my travel agency. They've got stuff going on, right? So we considered creating basically a service that would cater to them before they left, and make sure that they were ready for their trip. And when they come back from their trip, our colleague from Black Tomato talked about, for instance, making sure the fridge is full and, that the laundry had been done and so on and so forth.
A lot of human touch, which at the end of the day
enabled by technology, because those things wouldn't be possible.
That's exactly the point. Exactly the point. Yeah. That whatever I think. Now we've talked a lot about the trend, that we're the back foot in terms of embracing new technology, and that has created very, very big gaps in the marketplace for the Airbnbs and so on. But I will never, go away from that principle that, people come first. You have to make sure that you put there's the human connection, and I think that's why companies like mine were successful, because we never stray from that principle. All the technology in the world will never be able to make up for that. And that's where the real meaning is created. But I would happily embrace, and I really look forward to the day where our jobs become easier in terms of actually dealing with suppliers and dealing with our clients in real time on more levels, which definitely will be aided by technology.
Excellent.
Remember the days when everybody said travel agents are going away, they won't exist anymore? There's no way. People want that personal service. I'm the quintessential road warrior. I finish a meeting, I'm racing to the airport, I got 10 minutes to get there, I'm on the phone to my travel agent saying, change the flight. That level of personal service is still so important, especially to people that spend their life on the road.
At the end of the day, we are hospitality after all. You can't remove the human from it.
Even with our model being subscription-based lends itself to building and curating that community, right? So one of our main points is to look after people, not just when they're flying with us, but be that point of contact for getting them a great deal at the hotel they like, knowing what type of hotel they like, getting them access to private events or other travel experiences, not just with us. So I think especially with our model, it's slightly easier because we know who our clients are and they're talking to their concierge every day. So we have fun with that offline experience as well.
Fantastic. Well, thank you all very much for participating in today's Leadership Lab. Like we said, today's findings will come out a little bit later this year. But once again, just a big thank you to all of the Leadership Lab participants and wish you a great day. Cheers.
Thanks CJ.